Okay, welcome here again. We're in Kuala Lumpur, just in front of the Petronas Twin Towers, landmark of Malaysia, and we are here with Johan Hamid, okay, global investor extraordinaire. And today we're going to talk about another esoteric subject. Okay, we talk about the esoteric subjects, or the subjects that really can inspire you. And today we're going to talk about pension funds. Okay, and you know, in Malaysia we have a pension fund like EPF, Employees Provident Fund. We also have the Co-op, which is the pension fund for the government servants. But we want to know more about pension funds in the world context or the global context. So Johan, take it from here.
Well, thank you very much, Shukri, for inviting me again, and it's always a pleasure to come in Kuala Lumpur to learn from you, especially on a few assets like cryptocurrency, especially here like assets like Forex, robots and AI. But tonight we're not going to talk about that. Tonight, what I want to talk to you about is pension fund, and not only about Malaysia, but pension funds across US, across Europe. The bad news is like this. Basically, your pension fund is gone. I know it's hard to believe, but in the next 3, 4, 5 years, most pension funds will be gone. And the simple reason is the following. People don't realize it. Of course, they don't talk much about it, except in the US. In the US, they do mention that California Employment Fund it's going to go bust. A few towns, pension funds, they are going to go bust.
But California was one of the best.
Yeah, but the main reason and the main culprit, and the main culprit, US have started to understood about that. Europe is nowhere near understanding. The main culprit is interest rate. So a pension fund to really operate needs a return of 8%.
Okay.
If it does not produce a return of 8%, it becomes a Ponzi scheme. And which remind me of very good history of the pension fund come from Rome, from the Romans. But I'll come back to that later. So if a pension fund does not have an 8% return, it cannot survive in the long term. Then it needs more input than it can give out. So with when we had the crisis in 2008, of course these big clever people in Brussels and around the world start saying, oh, we should reduce interest rate to encourage spending and investment.
Right.
Unfortunately, it didn't work very well. They encouraged spending, but the investment didn't follow, especially in Europe. So now, what happened to the pension fund when we have an interest rate of 1 or 2%? They cannot do anything. They cannot buy bonds, or if they buy bonds, they only get 2%, which was supposed to be safe. But they need to increase their return on investment. And how do they do that? And that brings us to a very recent talk we had. How do they do that, Shukri? You know.
They invest in more risky assets.
They invest in more risky assets.
Oh no.
Like?
Oh no, equities.
And like?
Forex.
No, come on, Shukri.
No,
Shukri.
Don't tell me they invest in cryptos.
No, that
they
will come.
can't do that. Yeah, properties and all that.
But they invest in other countries.
Yes.
You get it, right?
Boy. Yeah.
So they start investing in, well, no, I don't know about pension fund, but some banks started investing in, of course, the Turkish lira and things like that. They have to get better return to serve your pension.
Correct.
And so they start doing that, and then of course some of these investment will go bad.
Correct.
Ultimately, because the higher the return, the higher the risk in general. So basically what is happening is that all the pension funds in the US, it's official, many of them, they are dying. So, and some of them will go bust. And in Europe, we don't talk much about those pension funds, but I can guarantee in Belgium, in France, in many countries, the pensions are not going to be able to survive. And what they're going to do is they're going to find ways to tax you more, to pay more, these pensions, and then to reduce or to increase the number of years you have to work. Now, for people like you and me, we're not working. We're having fun every day.
We don't care.
We're just having fun with assets and all that.
Correct.
We work, 12 hours a day, 15 hours, but it's not
We're
work.
having fun. It's not work.
It's fun.
It's living. We're trying to live longer, okay? But yeah, you're right. You mentioned about investing overseas. I know that the EPF here, Employees Provident Fund here, does invest overseas to get higher returns. You know, and they also have a problem where the money coming in is too much. That, you know, the Malaysian market alone cannot even absorb that and give the correct returns. So they have to go overseas. Now, the good thing now is that the markets have been going up overseas, at least in the USA. But you know this is not going to be true.
Yeah, this is not going to last.
It can't sustain itself. So what do we do then? And of course, probably you didn't realize it, but yeah, they're probably not telling us here, okay? Because we, Malaysia, they never tell anything. I don't know. I hope the government.
In Europe, they don't tell anything. So
I hope the new government tells us. But do you know that a couple of years ago there was even a proposal, and I suspect that this proposal was mooted because they had pre-calculated the outcomes of the scenario analysis. They wanted to increase the age where we could withdraw our funds to 60 from 55. It has already happened here. Now, thanks to public pressure, they then backtrack, but we do not know. So clearly, I mean, why would you want to give people their money when they're 60? I would say that if you are the government, that's political suicide, which it was. Okay.
Well, it's interesting because in Europe they had to go through it, and the French have to work not to 100 years, but it's like it's above 60.
You're serious? They already done it in France?
Come on, in Belgium, France is all done. So don't worry, they have to work forever, these guys. And but the problem is, in the long term, whatever, it's not sustainable, which bring a very good, interesting, I mean, honestly, it's all written already. The Romans, remember the Romans? That was like a while ago. So the Romans, of course, had a pension system for their army.
Yes.
And I can't remember which century is the first, the second, the third. The army grew, and then they all had this pension system. What happened when the collapse of Rome? What did the army do? Very simple. What did they do? Well, I mean, okay,
They looted the treasury.
They looted the villages. They went to help themselves.
Yes.
So this is going to be interesting in places like France, Belgium, Italy, Spain. In a few years, guys, not going to look good.
Okay, guys, I am going to withdraw my EPF when I reach the right age, okay? I hope that the Pakatan Harapan government is still in power. Yeah, they should be still in power there, right? Can't change the rules, okay? You cannot change the rules, or we're gonna vote you out. Man, yeah, but I think, yeah, this is something that's coming to us. I know that even Co-op is struggling to get the returns, and that's why they started also investing in Uber. And all these things. So yeah, this is an issue. You have another one, another pilgrims fund there, Tabung Haji, which invested in 1MDB.
Oh, 1MDB.
The land and all of that.
For our international viewers, 1MDB
Yeah.
is the biggest scandal ever in the
Ever.
world. 4 billion disappeared.
Ever.
And wait. Where is the 4 billion? Well,
I don't
no,
know.
it's
It's-
not here.
It's
not
behind. I thought it was in the towers. They're
No.
hiding it up there.
In another tower will show you.
You see,
No.
that's why we have one tower, because the other one is full of the 4 billion. Okay.
So interesting. what we're going to see is interesting. For our American friends, the 401k, you better really do your research on your 401k. Most of the 401ks are just they are just how do you call it?
They just want to make you comfortable so that you forget about
so
the
it's
consequences.
an easy concept, but not all 401k are good. They are not equals. And what I'm saying, you don't have to grab your fund out as soon as you can. Don't do that if you don't know what you're going to do with it.
Yes.
Get educated on your finance, especially if you're Americans. There's quite a bit of articles. Tony Robbins explained it quite well on the 401k. You can search about that. And of course, one sad thing about the pension is that most of people are going to be very, very disappointed with their pension fund. It's not going to go fully bust in Europe, but you get not much.
So if the returns do not come in and they don't have the capacity to pay, then I would say that in the long term, the pension fund is like a Ponzi scheme.
It has to be, because
that's the only way.
It's bad,
right?
And so don't trust those politicians. Honestly, I mean, when sometimes these guys, I hear them talking, whether in Brussels, Paris, I mean, these guys have no clue, zero clue about money. I can guarantee you, about managing money. They are in power, and their only game is to stay in power. They will do whatever, they will promise you whatever you want to stay in power. So be careful of your pension fund, look at it carefully, and if you have a chance, invest it. I've never in my whole life expected anything from a pension fund. Never, ever, ever.
Just a question, what are the returns you can get from pension funds in Europe?
No, I mean, for people who, I'll tell you about Belgium.
Okay.
If you've been working as you've had a bakery shop, or you've been a butcher,
right,
or you're a doctor, you've been what they call it independent. So
right,
it's different from salaried.
Okay.
So independent is like how do you call it? Is someone who works on its own. Is how do you say in English? Entrepreneur, but
yeah, I know. Solo.
Self-employed.
Yeah.
So most self-employed will be happy to get a 500 euro per month, and they've been working day and night.
Wow.
And they've been putting so much money. You cannot imagine how much we pay as entrepreneur, as self-employed. We pay thousands per year, and we'll never see it. I guarantee we'll never see it. So I know a friend who's worked a lot, and he always paid. He's getting 300. And so you might get 1,000 as an entrepreneur, self-employed. You might get 1,000 too, but most of them will never get more than 500. That's a sad story.
That's small.
Yeah. So that's why you have to take care of yourself, take care of your finance, and make sure that you know where you are going. The only way to do it is rule number one: don't believe in all these liars. They are just liars, I guarantee. I mean, seriously, whatever side, right, left, middle, liars, big liars. Now, and a big liar, you want to meet one? You want to see which one? Merkel. Merkel, she's a big liar. We'll talk about that subject in a different one. But they will promise you, and they will tell you, we're doing this for your good, we're doing this for your good. No, they are not. They are doing this to stay in power.
Right.
So take care of your funds, get education, learn, get a few books,
Yes.
and all the best to you guys.
It's your money. Take care of it.
Indeed.
Bye-bye.